Welcome back now. If you're just joining us, you're still on to the press, coming to you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN TV. Right about now, we've been joined by Adeniyi, the Director General, Conyssa, and we're going to be doing the analysis to some of the headlines we have read to you. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning and happy new week.
It's good to have you again after a very long time.
Thank you so much.
All right, a lot has happened from the Sudan crisis to the troops invading the terrorist camps. Everything from the finance minister saying that Nigeria's indebtedness to the World Bank has now hit 6 trillion naira. That's quite humongous. But then I want us to get started from the president-elect's anticipated return. According to some of the headlines we have here, it is expected that the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will return to Nigeria today after a 1-month rest, according to his media team in France. What are your expectations?
Well, the presidential candidate who emerged in the last election, who happens to be the president-elect, are waiting to be sworn in May 29th. Him coming back, there are going to be a lot of prayer. People want to get appointments as ministers, as chief of staff, SGF and others. And knowing fully well that even at the course of his rest, a lot of persons has gone to visit him over there, and a lot of things are ongoing. But the truth remains that despite the fact that there are cases in the court, for us, we are confident that when sworn in, President-elect being Bola Ahmed Tinubu, by the virtue of his past records and antecedents, we know definitely he's going to do well. And that is if those he appoints are going to key to his vision. He cannot be everywhere. But if those he's going to pick as ministers, as heads of agencies and parastatals, if they are actually going to work in one accord, definitely the man is going to deliver. So, but it's going to be a tedious process. When he come back, there's going to be meeting upon meeting, just like the governors, the Council of Governors, the caucus in the governorship of the EPC has kind of submitted the zoning and other these things. So there are going to be a lot of uprising from the party. Yeah, but
then I want to pause you for a second. You sounded so sure that the president-elect, by the time he becomes he's sworn in, he'll deliver on his mandate, depending on his choice of appointments, if they key into his vision. Now, then you premised it on the fact that he has had a good record while he was governor of Lagos State. Now, running a government at the state level and on the national level, they are two different. They are two different games. That is not to dispute the fact that records sometimes matters. Now, let's take for example Babajide Fashola. Yeah, we look at his achievements in the infrastructure department in Lagos, and we compare it to what he has been able to do in 8 years in the Ministry of Works, Housing, and the rest. We see that there's a disconnect between the both of them. So, what makes you so sure that the president-elect will deliver on his mandate by the time he gets sworn?
Now, you must also understand that in brackets, I was very sensitive that if those he is going to nominate as ministers, as heads of parastatals are going to key to his vision to work. Now, you see, one of the challenges in this present administration that will be elapsing in May 29 is that there is this nonchalant attitude towards service delivery to the citizens, and that is one of those things that has led us to where we are as a country. You see, when it comes to service delivery, either in the military and either in the security architecture and outside the security architecture, there's this nonchalant attitude towards handling affairs and things effectively before it escalates to become problematic. So you see, Fashola, as at when he was in Lagos, he performed very well. But the truth is that the ministry he handles, when projects are awarded, there is no effective follow-up and monitoring. And not until citizens begin to raise eyebrow over a particular project that has not been executed, that is when you now see them coming out to begin to send aids, to begin to send committees to now go and investigate, to now go and see how far such work has gone. For example, the Lagos-Ibadan express road ought to have been completed before now. But they are not struggling to complete it before Buhari leaves office, which is wrong. Let us talk about the Abuja-Lokoja road. Then from Kaba Junction to Okene, these roads ought to have been completed. But because there is this, should I call it, I don't care attitude towards, yes, it is not, because this is government affairs. And in the time past, anything that had to do with government, people just take it with levity hands. So, but with the caliber of the person that is now coming on board, he's somebody that asks questions over any assignment that he gives. So on that basis, is where I'm saying that he will perform, because as at when he's giving you that assignment, time to time, he will ask you, how far have you been able to go over your ministry that you are heading? So there he will, then Tinubu is a person that he gives listening ear in the secrets, where he get updates from ordinary people on what his cabinets are doing.
Okay. All right. Speaking of performance will only be obvious when change is effected, right?
Yes.
So do you see a situation where this administration, this incoming administration, would actually make a significant difference with how much and how far we've gone backwards?
Yeah, the truth remains that the country is in a crossroad at the moment, and it takes if you listen to former President Olusegun Obasanjo, he was talking about reconciliation, national reconciliation, and all this will be put together to really help to fast track us from the back seat to the front line. So, and now we must also be able to look at it from this dimension, that the incoming government is going to have more of youths in the front line, based on the role the youth played in the last presidential election. He knows fully well that now the generation and era we are is a technological generation. So he needs those that can think vast. He needs those that can handle things with the present global standard. So automatically this will now pave way for younger generations to key into the government, and that will actually help again, whereby because nearly everything will not be on social media, nearly everything will be at the disposal of every citizen, because we are getting to a time whereby you can sit at the comfort of your house and know how much that is being budgeted for a ministry and how it is being disbursed, and thereabout some persons can come on board to actually write to such ministry and say, please, can you tell us how far this 1 billion that has come to your office has been spent so far? Just like in 2020, if you remember vividly, President Muhammadu Buhari released 75 billion naira for Nigerian Youth Trust Fund, which was a loan, and whereby if we've had good administrators. From that 2020 to date, I want to tell you a lot of unemployed youth who has gone into different businesses and entrepreneur would have become business tycoon by now if those money were released. But you know, from the techniques of our leaders, they will not really want to pave way for some certain persons so that there will not be a competitive ground. Now beginning to see that this person is already coming ahead of me. So these are areas that we must also look at. But the truth remains that this present government has taken us backward, indisputable. But the incoming government, based on the kind of persons around him, we are hopeful that there will be a better country.
Before I ask my next question. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Alhassan. Good morning, Mr. Francis, Mr. Mario. Beautiful morning to you. You are on to SNB from Lagos.
All right, please join the conversation. Beautiful to you too.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate, and I appreciate KAFTAN TV for giving us this ample opportunity, and then for bringing out people intelligent with the patriotism in them to come to the studio and analyze issues that has to do with Nigerians. Mr. Mario, thank you very much. I really appreciate. Francis, in your open presentation, you made mention a lot of things that touches human lives, especially when we talk of the education regarding the issue that is going on in Sudan. It's quite a terrible experience, and then to me, the modus operandi on how we're going to evacuate our students is what bothers me. US have done that, and then Saudi have done that, but ours, we are even seeking Egyptian assistance to evacuate our students through the roads. It's quite worrisome, and then if that is the only way out, fine, please let them do their possible ways. And I am calling on the National Assembly to set aside their resources and get back to that National Assembly and do something very, very important regarding this issue. If you look at the report on the CBN by 2022, they said between 3 months, Nigerian spent $221 million on foreign education. That's a big money in 3 months. So why? These are the kind of lessons that we need to learn to see how we can at least reboot our education. Like I always made mention, the backbone of development in each and every society is education.
True.
And education is the component of development. Why are we taking education issue for granted? That's the question. Why are we doing this to our own human beings? A black nation that
Anyway, but we got the point he's trying to make.
Yes.
It's just so heart-wrenching. That's the first word I'm going to use, to know that we can spend so much elsewhere, but we barely spend that in here. But before we get into that deeply, the question I wanted to ask is, there are a lot of expectations of the incoming administration, just as there were expectations of the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Do you think that there is a possibility that this administration will hit the expectation that's on the side? Because now, talking about subsidy removal, this current administration is talking about removal of subsidy, and then in order to cushion it, they've already talked about increment of staff salary by 40%. And it's, don't you think that this kind of decision that is being made ahead for the incoming administration?
At late hour.
Exactly, because it simply means that I am leaving office and I am making decision that I don't know if it's going to be workable. Because now, let's take cue from the Naira design policy. We made this policy, but we didn't know if it was going to be workable, but we made it anyway, and we saw what happened. We had to bear the brunt of it. Now you're making a decision like this at a time when you're leaving, that you will not be the one to bear the brunt if it works or if it doesn't work.
You see, the truth is this.
Just to add to what Olamide has said, still talking about the salary increment.
Yeah.
There's this headline on the front page of Nigerian Tribune that reads, "Nurses, midwives lament exclusion from 40% pay rise for federal government workers." That is to say, the policy in itself is not even coherent. And there are some other stories flying around saying some from some paramilitary forces of the federal government are not included in this 40% pay rise. So you may want to
the first thing is this. You see, when you come to the subsidy removal, my dear sister, it is good for Nigerians to know today that it costs us nothing to legalize local refinery in this country. I'm telling you, if we have local registered refinery in this country, we don't have to send our fuel anywhere, our crude anywhere, where they will refine and bring back to us. You see, I also want to let you know this today, that there are some local fuel, local refined fuel in this country that are better than the ones that are coming from NNPC. So what will it cost this country? But because some persons are beneficiary of the first subsidy, I will shock you that some persons sit at the comfort of their house and get paid at the end of the month without bringing fuel into this country in the name of first subsidy, because they are licensed. So now all this accumulate to get us to where we are, where we now have shortage of fund that now led us into borrowing. Just like the Minister of Finance said. You see, the truth is this, that the only area of fear we will have about the incoming administration is the buckload of debt that is on ground. That is number one. Number two, when we now come to the salary increment, you see, one fact remains that some set of person does not care what happened to citizens in this country. As a core member, you are leaving your state to another man's state to go and serve your fatherland for 1 year. What you are being given per month is not up to 35,000. Out of this money you will feed, out of this money you will pay light, you will pay transportation. Out of this money you will not recharge card. Now, looking at the cost of feeding and food items in this country, so a single person can sit in chicken wrap and squander that at 5,000 naira.
Obviously.
At a 6, and of course, even more.
So, and this is what you pay a grown-up young person of 25, 26 to 30 years of age to sustain on in a month.
After 4, 5, 6 years.
Yes, it's good. Suffering. Now, not minding the challenges of insecurity in such a place. Not minding other social-cultural activities that could actually put such a person into fear, and the person have to get adapted. The change of weather and other things. Now, the truth is this, that we now come to salary increment. I want to holistically say it here today, that a sergeant in Nigerian police, his salary is not up to 100,000. And this kind of person has wife, 2, 3 children.
Extended families to take care of.
Now, how do you expect such a person to cope? And how do you expect such a person to be able to work effectively? And this is where the idea of harassment, of inducing citizens and extorting citizens by security agencies are coming from.
I think we saw one over the week, last week, the dismissal.
Now, but the truth is this, that dismissing them is not the solution. It means because of that act in them already, because you have reduced them to poverty, you have reduced them to living a life of hardened heart, going back to the society will become more brutal. Because professionally they have been trained by Nigerian government with Nigerian fund. So all this training that they have gotten, they will not go out there and use it more negatively, because these persons in question that you dismiss has been privileged to arrest criminals of high profile. Some of them have gone to prison and come out, and some of them are not repented yet at the cost of their serving in the prison. So not coming out and getting to know that the same officer that has arrested him has been dismissed. Such criminal will feel that, one, that person is already a professional, that if they join synergy together, that their activities can be more smooth. So now it means that our security agencies will not be helping us by dismissing officers, but they should look for alternative way, like what happened in Port Harcourt. The officer, the inspector that was deranked to sergeant, you understand? Now that will now curtail his SSCs, not just being deranked, but he will be posted to a place whereby he will be properly monitored. So all this goes a very long way to help us as a country to say that it is long overdue for salary increment because of cost of commodity and cost of living.
So is that supposed to be a responsibility of this current administration to handle?
Yes, exactly. It is. You see, this present administration would have done well if in the last 8-9 calendar month, there are kind of some of this new policy they are trying to put in place. If they have done it about 9-8 calendar months ago, there would have been a test run, and this would have been able to help to a kind of, okay, this thing can work. Just like the failure of the new the cashless policy. You see, our internet system was not properly monitored.
All right, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Alhassan. It's SMB back again. Please, I'm sorry, the network did not allow me to round up. Quickly, now the issue of nationwide blackout looming. You see, I asked this question. What happened with the federal government and Siemens power project plan, which generates almost $2.3 billion US? What happened with that contract? What happened with the Mandela hydroelectric project that will generate 3,050 megawatts? What is going on with our policy makers? For how long shall we remain in this present predicament? This is the question I always ask. As for the youth giving contribution to this, the last presidential election, it's true that, like Mario made mention. So I expect this incoming government to have at least representation of the youth for all these 6 geopolitical zones. That will help the government to establish a lot of development when it comes to youth. Thank you very much. I remain SMB from Lagos.
Thank you for your contribution, SMB.
Now, Mr. Ade, you talked about dismissing the officers, not necessarily being a solution, not necessarily being a solution to the problem. But then, being a security expert, don't you think the Nigerian police and all our military, paramilitary forces are long overdue for a major reform? Because you go to most police stations across Nigeria now, you still find officers resorting to torture while questioning suspects, not a criminal, not a convicted criminal. Yet, you still see a situation whereby a mother is arrested and taken to and locked up for the crime the son committed, in hopes that when the son hears about the mother's arrest, he will turn himself up. These are major pointers to the fact that the Nigerian all security agencies are due for a major reform. Why is nobody talking about it, being a security expert?
No, the truth is this: a lot of persons have been emphasizing on this, and I think in the recent
as part of the agitation protest.
Now the truth is that recently there was a new code of conduct of Nigerian police that the IG has actually passed, and I think it was officially launched in the first headquarter. And this I will also say to buttress what you have just raised as an issue of arresting a mother in replace of the son. Officially that has been banned. Yes, but an issue happened in Anambra State where a young man stole a towel. And the young man escaped and the girlfriend was arrested. and the towel was returned. But because nobody came for the bail of the young girl, a very young girl, she is pregnant. The IPO charged her to court.
Wow.
After retrieving the towel and ended up sending her to the prison. A young man, Harrison, just last week, with the help of other supporters, were able to go and get the bail of the young lady from the prison with 200,000. I want to talk about the aspect of reform. You see, we've pleaded to the Nigerian police and other security agencies until the departments, in every parastatal there are departments, until the departments begin to carry out their work and functions out effectively. Before now, I still remember when in Ondo State, when Udiandi was still the CP in Ondo State, the legal department, even if you get to the division level, you still get somebody, an officer in the legal department who will address the issue and look at it very well to see if this case worth going to court or what referring to conflict resolution department. And when they now studied the issue, they now look at, no, this thing can be resolved within these two parties. So now the general reform that will now help our security agencies, the first is to look at the salary. Then two, look at the infrastructure. I will let you know today that most of our security agencies, the personnel buy uniform with their personal money out of their salary. If you go to the first headquarters, there is a place outside there. Just go some person, you see people going to buy boots on their own, buy uniform on their own. Why they are serving their father's land?
Uniform on their own to serve their father's land.
To serve their father's land. So now tell me, why will a criminal give such person money and the person will not collect? So the person is being induced because of what he's passing through from the authority to not live the life he's living. So the reform will not be generalized, whereby if you are not bringing new law, you must first of all look at what is the wages of this man at the end of 30 days.
Okay.
What are we offering? So this will really help to balance the services we are expecting from our security agencies to the general society. So, and this will now help also the incoming government, because at the moment, to be candid, last week I just felt whosoever that is coming in as the new president of this country is just like about to start another work in a country that have been existing with leaders.
All right.
That is what I felt.
Okay, let's quickly talk about the Sudan conflict before we round up. It says government seeks Egypt's support to rescue 5,500 Nigerians by road. 5,500 by road.
You see, the first thing is this: what led our students to such country? Because our institution here is not working. Our institution in this country is not working, and our big men are sending their children outside this country. So the problem is still within our youth. How is that? If we all agree that, okay, the Minister for Education should be held responsible for the challenges in the educational sector, so the minister will now technically, as a politician, look at the arrowheads of those people to make such an agitation. He can just invite them to, he will pay their flight ticket to London for a meeting. So possibly when getting to London, he will just say, okay, just be here for 1 month, we'll go back and we'll see what we can do. So at the end of the day, no result will be achieved. I want to take us back to the ASU strike before we talk about the Sudan proper and the way forward. At the level of the ASU strike, you see, it took even the student union government long time before they start agitation. So the issue of the Sudan, for us, we've made a press statement yesterday, and we've given the government 24 hours to make sure that these 5,500 students that are youth of our generation should arrive back Nigeria safely without any of their lives being lost. And that is where we stand. and we'll keep engaging the government authority as we keep writing to the government on a kind of do a serious follow-up. And just like the young man said, our National Assembly should come back from the recess and quickly switch to action. They don't have business at home.
You said you made a press.
Yes, exactly. Yes, yesterday we've addressed that.
What are you staking? What's at stake?
No, our position is very simple, that they should fast track their discussion with the Egyptian government to make sure that their security personnel are able to support whatsoever troop Nigeria is sending, to be able to safeguard them at the level of taking the route. And because then the Egyptians also know the route more than Nigerian military and other security agencies. So that will really help that the two support. So, but the most important thing is that our government should not sleep over this. And that is why we are asking the National Assembly to quickly return by tomorrow back to the National Assembly and begin to fast track all this process for our youth who are students in that country.
Thank you.
Come back to their
Thank you very much, Mr. Adeniyi. It's been a wonderful time talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Our time is fast spent, and we do hope to have you again some other time on the program, because quite a lot we should have talked about, but our time played the fast one on us. And this is where we draw the curtain on today's episode of your #1 newspaper program, The Press, reaching you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN TV. My name remains Francis Adeniyi. Do well to have a beautiful week ahead of you.
And I am Olamide Alhassan. Have a great one.